Hi everyone, welcome back. In this video, we want to integrate FreeSWITCH with VAPI platform for outgoing call. In the previous video, we looked at handling incoming calls from our SIP carrier to FreeSWITCH to VAPI platform. So we could call a number from our carrier. The carrier will send the invite to the FreeSWITCH and FreeSWITCH to the VAPI, and VAPI AI agents answer the call. In this video, we will do it reverse. So VAPI has a feature and capability to make outgoing calls for a lot of outbound set of campaigns, for example, for sales campaign or appointment reminder. For these setups, of course, we can use the VAPI integrated numbers, but what we want to learn today is how to integrate VAPI for the outgoing calls. So VAPI will send the calls request to our FreeSWITCH system, and the FreeSWITCH will send calls to the carrier. This will help you to focus on creating voice AI agents instead of dealing with, for example, speech to text, text to speech, voice streaming, etc. But what if you already have your telecom environment, if you already have your billing system, if you already have your telephony system and you want to just integrate your own telephony system or your own local carrier to VAPI? That's exactly where FreeSWITCH integration comes in. By connecting VAPI to FreeSWITCH, you will get the best of the both worlds, the AI agents and also the telephony part of it. You can use VAPI to create your AI agents and then use the power of FreeSWITCH to integrate your telephony system to your local carrier, or even do some magics, like for example, integrate VAPI to another, let's say, machine detect system. So you don't need to limit to the VAPI features. We can integrate VAPI to FreeSWITCH and then integrate FreeSWITCH to, for example, SignalWire, or for example to Twilio, to get features and the capability of the other platforms and create whatever you want with this platform. So now that we know why this integration can be useful, let's go to the main topics and what we will cover in this video before we go into the implementation. Step 1 is creating the SIP trunk in the VAPI platform. This is basically telling VAPI, I'm bridging my own SIP trunk. Here we enter the public IP address of our FreeSWITCH server and the authentication username and password that will be used for outbound calls. This is how VAPI knows where to send the calls and how to connect it securely. Next, we assign a phone number to this trunk inside VAPI. This number will be the caller ID of our outbound calls from VAPI platform to our FreeSWITCH. It's better to set the number of your carrier that you want to send call to, because then you don't need to override the caller ID, but you can set actually any number, because this is the number that is sending from VAPI to FreeSWITCH, and in FreeSWITCH you can manipulate or use this number and then change when you want to send call out. So this is really not important, just set a number in a E164 format so that the system accepts that. Step 3 is to configure the FreeSWITCH directory. In this step, we move over to our FreeSWITCH and set up the directory. This is where we add the VAPI trunk details so FreeSWITCH can authenticate calls from VAPI. It's like giving FreeSWITCH a profile for VAPI so it knows how to handle the traffic. We use, if you are familiar with the FreeSWITCH, that I'm sure you are, you know that this is the directory where our default users 1001 to 1019 is there. So it's like creating a username that the VAPI will use this username and password to authenticate itself to FreeSWITCH, and then sends the call to the context that we specified here. That in our example, for example, here we specified the VAPI context. And in step 4, we need to create the VAPI context dial plan. In the previous step, we defined our user, and then we send whatever calls is sent to our FreeSWITCH using that user will be sent to the VAPI context. And now we need to create a special dial plan, and we call it VAPI context. And this tells FreeSWITCH exactly what to do when the calls come into our VAPI. In our case, for example, we'll send out this to our chosen carrier that here is, for example, SignalWire. And finally, of course, is reloading and testing in our FreeSWITCH, loading the XML and also the profile, and then testing our integration. Okay, now it's time to see how we configure it in our server. So I have documented all the steps in the Git. In order to access that, you need to go to my GitHub and then select the FreeSWITCH repo. And here you can see FreeSWITCH to VAPI SIP integration for outgoing calls. This is the link for the incoming calls, and this is for the outgoing calls. In the outgoing call, I have put all the information and with examples that you need. Let's go through them. The first one is creating the VAPI SIP trunk. So what you need to do, you need to copy this one, and just you need to replace the name. You can put anything. This is my server name, FS01. The IP address of your FreeSWITCH. For example, here my IP address is 138. So I need to just copy this one and replace with the FreeSWITCH IP address, and then the username and password. Just pay attention. This username and password should be long. So I use, for example, this one. It should be at least, I think, 20 characters, and it should be a secure password. So just use any other secure password, and of course, don't use this one, username and password. And this is the IP address of my FreeSWITCH server. You just need to copy this one and paste it there. Of course, for this one, you need a token. You need the authorization, and you need a VAPI token that if you go to your VAPI platform, if you go to the actually VAPI API keys, the API key that you need is the private key. So you need to copy this one and replace it with this one. This should be your VAPI API key. This is not mine. Don't be happy you can't use it. So that's, I already changed in the document. So just use your own VAPI API key. And you will get a sample output. And this output, this ID is important because when you created a trunk, you can see the trunk here as well. If you go to phone numbers, if you create a new phone number, and then if you click on bring your own SIP trunk, of course, we don't use this method, but now that I've created, you can see FS01. If you can't see that after the step one, just refresh your page because VAPI is not very good, at least till now, on refreshing this API. So you just need to refresh the whole page, and then you should be able to see this FreeSWITCH trunk after step one. Of course, you don't need to really check that. It will be created. And if you have this ID at the end, because this is sample output, it will give you an ID. And then you will use this ID to call, to use it here. So you can use the, again, you need to set the, actually your trunk ID. That's where you get this ID, right? So in the previous step, you need to copy this one and use it here. And then again, your VAPI API key, this is the same as the previous one, and then you will assign a number. So if I go here, for example, as I said, this doesn't need to be a valid number. As you can see here, this number is not valid. It does not even exist because this is just a number that will be sent to your FreeSWITCH. And you have it here, and it's assigned to our SIP carrier. So the next step is to go and configure your FreeSWITCH. So you create a user and password for the VAPI. I have already created this one. And as you can see, this username and password, the username and password should be matched to whatever you have created in the first step, right? You assigned a username and password, and what you are using in the VAPI directory is exactly same as the username and password that you have created in step one. And the last step is just to tell it where to send the number. So it's very easy from VAPI to carrier. So you can just route it to your carrier. For example, here I'm using signal wire, and actually for this test, let me just show you. Chat etc FreeSWITCH dial plan VAPI contacts. If you can see here, I'm just dialing plus numbers to the signal wire, and this is my signal wire that I already allowed my FreeSWITCH IP address. So when the calls came in, it will send the call out through the signal wire. In a way, I'm using signal wire to send +1 numbers to the carrier. It's cheaper than, for example, the other carriers, and also I rely on them. So that's how I route this number to the signal wire. And in the last step, you just need to reload and do the SIP profile. And for the testing, it's very easy. You can just go to your, because when you're done step one and step two, you will have a number here. And what you need to do, you just need to go to the outbound settings if you don't want to test via programming or API, and then call a number. Then put your number, for example, whatever number you want, select an assistant, and then make a call. I just put any number here, and of course it should be valid, and then make a call. It should be a valid number for calling. Let's call to a valid number, and you can see make a call. It will generate an outgoing call, and of course you can see there in your FreeSWITCH system. And that's it. This is how you integrate your VAPI system to the FreeSWITCH, and then from FreeSWITCH you can send it to any other platform. Thanks for watching, and if you have any question you can put in the comment, or if you have any suggestion for the next video, please comment it out. Thank you, and see you in the next video.